It's strange how routines sneak up on you. By late July, life with Ethan wasn't just easier, it was better. The days bled into each other. Early chores, breakfast on the porch, hours of sun and sweat and dust, then evening training, worship, and sometimes just lying under the stars. But it was the little things that caught me off guard, like the time he brought in wildflowers after fixing the fence, just walked into the kitchen, shirt off, dirt smudged on his chest, holding a handful of yellow and purple blooms like it was the most natural thing in the world. I saw these and thought, you might like them. I stared at him, unsure if I was more disarmed by the flowers or the soft smile on his face. I do, I said, voice small. I do like them. Or the time he insisted on cooking breakfast, eggs and potatoes, shirtless, humming some old rock song, flipping the skillet with one hand while flexing his other bicep at me over his shoulder. Look at this, he grinned. Curls and carbs. Show off, I laughed, but I couldn't stop staring. Do that flex again. He did, slow, deliberate, that peak rising like a mountain under his skin. My fork hit the table as I stood behind him, wrapping my arms around his waist and pressing my face into the space between his shoulder blades. You're dangerous, I mumbled. He chuckled. Only two weak men. The barn gym had become our church. That night, thunder rolled outside, low and heavy. The roof shuddered with wind. Rain lashed against the siding, but inside everything was warm. Ethan stood shirtless under the single bulb, body glistening, freshly pumped from a brutal workout. Ready for your devotion? He teased. I approached him slowly, like he was fire, something I wanted to touch, but feared I'd burn from. Take your stance. He obeyed instantly. Legs shoulder width, arms curled into a front double bicep. The definition was unreal. His arms looked like sculpted granite, veins pushing to the surface, pecs thick and high like stone slabs. Hold it, I ordered. He did. I circled him slowly, eyes drinking him in. The muscles in his back were alive, shifting under his skin as he breathed through the pose. I ran both hands along the edge of his lats. Spread wider. He obeyed again, pulling his elbows back slightly, causing his torso to bloom open. I dragged my fingertips up the groove of his spine, then across the wide shelf of his traps. Harder, don't move. He growled low, a sound that vibrated in his chest, but held still. I moved around to the front again and dropped to one knee. His quads flared like pillars, thick with cords of muscle, a roadmap of veins tracing down to his knees. I pressed my hand to his left quad and felt the tension vibrate into my palm. You were made for this, I whispered. You make strength look beautiful. You make me feel beautiful, he said, his voice barely above the storm outside. I rose slowly, chest brushing his abs as I stood. He didn't break pose. His eyes locked with mine, glassy, vulnerable beneath all that power. I've never felt this kind of purpose before, he whispered. Because you were waiting for someone to see you. He exhaled shakily. Boss, he murmured, tell me what I am to you. I stepped closer, pressing a palm to his solid pec. Your power, your devotion, your softness under armor, you're mine. And that broke him. He let the pose drop, arms falling to his sides, and pulled me into him like he needed the contact more than air. His muscles surrounded me, wrapped me in warmth and tension and something deeper, a kind of safety I'd never felt before. I want to be strong for you, he whispered into my hair, not just in the gym, all the time. The next morning was one of those golden, slow ones. He sat on the porch steps, hair still messy, a plate of pancakes on his lap. I brought out coffee, and he pulled me down beside him without a word, arm draping over my shoulder like it belonged there. I like this, he said after a few quiet minutes. This, us, being near you. I leaned into him, letting my head rest against the slope of his chest. You know you don't have to be flexing all the time, right? I teased. He laughed, deep and warm. But what if I like when you look at me like I'm your personal monument? I looked up at him. That's because you are. You're a living sculpture. He flexed his arm lazily, just enough to make the muscle swell against my cheek. I kissed it, slow and soft. Guess I am, he whispered.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If this tale stirred something in you, don't forget to give it a like and share it with someone who appreciates a good story told with heart and heat. Want more stories like this? Subscribe and turn on that notification bell because I've got more coming. Deeper emotions, bolder moments, and characters you won't forget. Until next time, stay curious, stay warm, and never stop craving a good story.